Wisdom by design.
Episode 4. What's up, dropouts? Yeah, we're talking to you. You're in good company. We are a podcast for the creative looking to enrich their life with knowledge. We won't be giving you 3 ways to get rich quick. That's not us. We are for the college avoider, the corporate dropout, us. What's up? The person burning the midnight oil on their next big project. That's us too, actually. We are here to talk with you, offer up the processes that work for us in our business, and to get real. This might be your new fave podcast.
Maybe.
Maybe. My name's Jessa.
And I'm Cameron.
And this is Wisdom by Design. What's up, dude?
Hello. How's it going?
It's going good. I'm good. I brought my buns today.
Buns to the pod.
I brought the buns to the pod.
Which is hilarious.
Oh gosh. So we're on episode 4.
Crazy. I would have never thought we'd be this far.
I'm pretty darn excited. Our Instagram crew is growing. That happened like overnight, it feels like.
I think people have been watching. They've been watching us already. We're just giving them a place to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, instead of us being in our little Instagram stories, we're like, hey, you know what?
Yeah.
What's up?
And I just got to my Instagram stories because I was even afraid to do that.
Right. Well, hey, since you mentioned that, that's actually today's episode, to stop letting fear get in the way of what you want to do. Wow.
The big
good
monster.
job, Cam. Good segue.
Good, right? King.
The big monster.
Wear the crown today and probably not tomorrow. It would be terrible segues for the rest of the podcast.
That's how this works. We promise terrible segues.
I'm actually get ready.
You're like, you know what? Challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted.
Oh my gosh. So, okay. Why are we talking about this? Why is this important?
Because I feel like it's every creative business owner and everybody's beginning problem is
anyone who is existing
terrified to do the thing that they want to do. Like, it might just be a human thing. Like, I feel like it might be everybody in the world.
Yeah, no, it is definitely the human thing. Fear is our body's natural response to try and protect us.
Yep.
That is our body's going, hey, that's different. I don't like it. Stop.
For sure.
Ooh,
but
God.
I could go do this other thing that I'm more comfortable at.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, and we see it all the time. We see it in our own businesses 24/7. It's literally us getting a great idea and then maybe possibly realizing how much work it actually involves
100%.
And all the pieces and it's just this big spider web, and then we're like, you know what? I'm not gonna.
I'm gonna go do something else.
I'm gonna do something else that's easier and less scary.
100%. So let's start at the beginning. What was one of your first fears with becoming who you are now? Like actually getting out there and doing it. Let's start with photography.
Yeah.
What was one of your first fears when it came to photography?
Starting a business, period.
Okay.
Period. No, seriously, like that was literally one of my biggest fears was, how am I going to depend on myself? Like, I had to depend on myself. I'm the paycheck. I'm the boss. I'm the person that does the inventory. You know, I'm literally doing everything. So for me, that was very, very hard to get through.
For sure.
Just because, like, even still today, there are things that will drag me down as far as if it's too scary, like starting a podcast. Starting a podcast, it can be kind of scary. There's lots of moving parts to it.
And just putting yourself out there at telling these types of stories, because being vulnerable with people, I feel like those are the best podcasts, right? Like, we all want to listen to the person who's being genuine with us. So to go and say, I'm going to do this every other Tuesday forever is hard.
Yeah, and being on the internet, because the internet can be a pretty scary place. Like,
and it's forever.
It's forever. Our kids are gonna look at this. They're gonna think we're weird. Yeah.
They'll think we're weird, and then they'll be like, "My dad was cool." That's at least what I have in my head.
Yeah. What was your biggest fear?
So my biggest fear was probably, this one's going to be weird. Maybe it's going to be weird, but it was deciding that this career choice that I had picked, the engineering side, was not the right one. So kind of engineering for me, like coming out of college, even going into college, it was, my mom was like, you're going to be an engineer because you're good at science, you're good at math, you'll be able to pay off your student loans when you get out. That was the three. That was it. And so going into it is like, okay, we're going to settle into security. We're going to settle into being comfortable. And then going and saying, hey, I'm going to throw that all away. Terrifying. And I know when I was going through college, my biggest fear was to be jobless, and being jobless would lead to being homeless, and being homeless would mean that my family was on the streets, and we're panhandling. Like, your mind really takes you to those places. So I had to get over all of that to even step out on my own.
And that is a valid fear, like, especially being in 2020, the freaking dumpster fire of a year. That is something that is very, I mean, anything can go wrong, but even like with my husband, he was like, what's stopping you? Like, literally the only thing that's stopping you is you. I was bringing in the clients, I was bringing in the money, but it was the fact that I had to specifically rely on myself to bring in that money. And there were going to be months that were going to be slow. And that was scary to me. I was like, I'm not going to have a consistent paycheck. What is that going to look like? So fear can stop us from doing a lot of things if we let it.
For sure. And it's interesting that you said it can stop you all along the way. Like it
doesn't go away.
It's the big
it doesn't go away.
And then along the way, but it's interesting because it's, again, in those moments is where you're going to grow the most.
Yes.
Like, so for me again, like, the fear took over when I lost my job. So I lose my job in July of this year, and I'm like, there it goes. I'm going to be homeless, like the whole path again. You're not doing your job. You're going to be homeless. Your kid's going to be on the street panhandling. And that's just the mental image that's in your head. And then it happens. And I kind of am okay with it. Like, it was weird. It's like the fear is so big, but when you don't have the choice to make, you're like, okay, I'm good.
You literally, and that's kind of what happened. Like, I took a break. I took a sabbatical. I love that word. I watched too much Grey's Anatomy. Okay.
We need to talk more about sabbaticals.
We do. But I did. I took a sabbatical from photography because I was burnt out. I was tired. I didn't want to even touch my camera. I didn't want to look at it. And I had been in a very, very dark place. And this is something we're going to talk about later, but I had been in a really, really dark place, and all of my fears were coming true because I let them. I literally stopped fighting. I was done. So when I took that sabbatical, I got 2 part-time jobs. I was working at Panda Express. I was working at a daycare. So I'm literally wiping butts and snotty noses, cute butts and snotty noses, by the way. Don't get me wrong. They were cute. I miss my kids. But, and then, you know, like working double shifts at Panda Express and not getting home until almost midnight. And I would much rather had done that than just sit in my fear. And so finally, and then COVID happened, and it was like, bye-bye both jobs. Yep. See ya. Those are gone. And it was like, okay.
So you basically had the same experience. Like,
I did. Yeah. I ran away to different jobs because I was like, this is going to be easier than what I'm dealing with right here. Like, that was my coping mechanism. I'm like, I'm just going to run away from this, and we all do it. I just wanted something so badly that I didn't have to think about. I wanted like a mindless, check it off my list, it's done for the day, come home, go to sleep. That's what I wanted.
Well, we were told that that's how it was supposed to be. Like,
yes. Yeah.
Well, because my dad, no disrespect to my dad, but he used to come home and be like, what'd you do today at work? And my dad would be like, man, that had me at the desk doing nothing. Great day. And I'm like, okay, that's how it's supposed to be then.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be trying to get away with not doing anything or thinking about anything at work. Yeah. And then you literally do it. And it's like, it's way harder. Like, honestly, it's way harder to do it. So I don't know. That's more of the challenge. Like, it's just so weird that that's more of the challenge, and doing the things that are scary and going towards the thing that you want are ultimately hard at the beginning, but they get easier.
Yeah, they do. And it's literally, I had to take a step back and go, okay, what's the hardest part? And the hardest part was there were so many pieces, and I didn't have the systems in place to understand those pieces. I just let those pieces overwhelm me. So, and then I meet all these amazing people, like my wellness coach and you and your wife, and like all these people who are like, hey, I'm in the same boat. I've been there. You have to sit down and look at those pieces and make sense of them. Yeah. And that's scary. That is scary because you're like, where did I drop the ball? Yep. But instead of looking at it like that, it's like, okay, here's a giant elephant, one bite at a time.
100%. And it's like
one bite at a time.
And I've been talking to my wife about, like, she sat down with you and she sat down with me before, and literally just picking a system and starting it is so much, takes a load off, because you're like, well, at least I know what I'm doing now and I can adjust it. But when you haven't sat down and even picked the system, you're, oh, well, I can adjust here and keep adjusting here and keep adjusting here, but you can't always adjust on the fly. Adjusting on the fly is stupid. Like, ultimately, it's going to lead to your downfall.
It takes up so much of your time. And we're going to have like a completely different episode on systems. You and I are so, like, we are dipping our toes into system land. We love it.
It's automation.
So we're definitely, it is. What's our thing? It's go slow to go fast.
Yes, go slow.
Slow down to go fast. Yeah, for sure. And and we sorry, I got excited. I think another thing that plays into that too is imposter syndrome. Oh, let me just hit you with that one. Imposter syndrome stops me on a regular basis. I sit there and I go, okay, somebody's already did it. Somebody's doing it better than me. Nobody needs this because there's already so much of it out there. Like, all of these, I will come up with all these different ways of why I shouldn't be doing something, because I'm not educated. I'm not skilled enough. I'm not, all these different things. It has a lot to do with, obviously, our voices, our inner voices, but I'll get caught up in it and I will lose sight of my actual end goal, because I'll be sitting there bullying myself 100%. Instead of going, okay, no one cares. No one cares.
No one cares.
Literally no one cares. You know who does care? The people who love you.
That's it.
It doesn't matter how bad your art is. Seriously. Like, it does not matter how bad your art is. If people love you and you are kind and you are genuine, you will get so far. It doesn't matter if people have done it before.
Man, talentless people who stick to what they know and who can build a crowd are going to go way further than anyone who has talent and is bullying themselves and comparing themselves to others.
Yeah.
So that's imposter syndrome and comparison hand in hand. They're basically walking on the beach together.
They are on a date. Okay. They are on a date, and we need to interrupt that date.
For sure. And imposter syndrome for me is definitely like, because, and I don't know if this happens for you, but because the people who are doing it and have, like, I'll take graphic design, who have been doing graphic design, don't look like me. And I don't really have any images, especially when I started. I didn't even have any groups that had people that look like me in them that were also doing design. So I was like, Black people don't do this. Like, how am I supposed to, like, even set up a template for because I want to do my graphic design for the people who look like me because I feel like we're underserved.
Yeah.
But how do I even do that when I
Hell yeah, not you feel like you are. Yeah. First of all. Okay.
How do I even do that if I don't even have a place to start? Like, so it already gets weird kind of thing. But thankfully I found people who do look like me. I found groups with Black designers in it. We're good to go. But at the beginning, that's fear. You're scared. Like, I remember in college, there was like, I was gonna join a group. They build airplanes because it was an engineering school. There was a group that built airplanes. I never could muster up it was like RC airplanes. I never could muster up the courage to go and be in that group because everybody was white. Like, I had a very hard time with that. And it just never happened. So kind of being here in my business, I've kind of had to sit with that and kind of learn how to deal with that type of stuff, that type of imposter syndrome, because it just makes you feel like you're not adequate. You don't deserve to be there. It's tough. It's tough.
You're going to make me get emotional on this podcast, and I need you to not stop. So
it's definitely hard. And I don't know, I don't really hear Black people speak about it a lot, especially in these kinds of spaces. But it's tough to do things in areas that don't have your types of people in them. And then even take college. When I was in high school, our high school, we had so many different types of people. And then to go to college, it was me in an engineering class by myself as the only Black person. So imagine having to go to the professor or go to another student and say, I need help. It was practically, it took me a while to figure it out. It was That's
not an easy environment to go into, especially if you don't feel like there's anybody there that can connect with you and be there with you. And that's literally what this world is about, is being able to connect with people.
That's part of it. Yeah.
That's a huge part of it. And like the fact that you took, but let's look at what you did with that. You literally took all of those feelings, all of those thoughts, all those things that were originally stopping you. And now you're creating a space for Black artists to do the damn thing. Okay.
For sure. Yeah.
Like I am, when Kam told me about you have your weekly design meetings, or like your design meetings that you, tell us a little bit about that.
So I haven't done one in a little while. I did the first one back in October. Basically, it is design kickback, where I was inviting other Black and brown designers to kind of come for an hour and let's talk about your problems. Let's talk about your triumphs for the week. Let's talk about your failures for the week. Let's get together and just kind of have a space that's just open for us. So I think it's
I have chills. I have chills. I have goosies. But it is really important. So, and that's why I brought that up, because instead of sitting in that fear, you said, you know what, there's not a space for me, so I'm going to create it.
For sure.
I'm going to create it, and I'm going to make sure that everybody who is dealing with the exact same stuff that I am, they are going to be able to feel supported, welcomed, and ready. And that is a space that you are providing based off of fears that you have experienced yourself.
100%.
So like that, and
that's what we were talking about. There's always a group for you. There's always somebody.
There is always a group for you. Yes. I have clients that, oh my gosh, I am so thankful. And some, especially when I get into those really, really hard, I get into my head and I want stuff to stop me, but I have clients that it doesn't matter what season I'm in, they always come back up. They always show back up and they say, hey, Jessa, I need this. Hey, Jessa, can you help me with this? Because I've made myself available to them before and I took care of them before. And so they're always going to come back. And so it doesn't matter if you're the best or you're the smartest or if nobody in the room looks like you. Does it suck? Yeah, it's fucking hard. It's hard.
It's hard.
And it will, and if you let it, it will stop you dead in its tracks. But
for sure.
Again, back to dumpster fire 2020. What have we seen? We have seen people who have been scared by fear stand up and open their mouths.
Yep. Okay. That's all this year's been.
All this year has been so if there's anything we want you guys to take away from this year, it's that everybody's scared. Everybody's scared. Everybody's going to be scared, but it's what you do with that fear that pushes you to that. And I know my wellness coach is probably going to listen to this episode and be like, really, Jessa, is that how that works? Is that how that works? Yes, Natima, that is how that works. She taught me about that because I literally would sit in my fear and I would just go, what is the worst case scenario? I would come up with every fake solution.
All of them.
all of them.
And for me, what that looks like is just, I'm shut down. Like I'm going through the motions. Like, and then Alex is like, what do you like? Is something wrong? And I'm like, nope, nothing's wrong. I'm perfectly fine.
I'm only sleeping for 7 hours. It's fine.
Yeah.
That's called a depression nap, you guys.
For me to even notice what's going on. Like,
right.
So that's why, like you go back to 2020 and it happened. My worst case scenario happened. So what does that mean? That means that I have to, literally at the beginning, I was terrified. I cried a lot at the beginning. I was on the phone with my parents one time. I started crying. They're like, what's going on? And I'm like, this is scary kind of thing. But I told myself at the beginning, fear is something that it can stop you, but you know that feeling. You know when you get up to fear and there's a feeling. And I'm trying to train myself to run straight at it, run straight through it. If there's anything that ever terrifies me, I feel it and go. And you kind of have to train yourself to do that. So with me not having a job, I was like, well, I'm just going to sit in this. We'll see. Everybody says all the growth comes from being uncomfortable. Let's really test this out. So I'm going to tell you, like, my last paycheck was in August to now, like, I feel like I've grown leaps and bounds compared to who I was in August because I took a moment. Let's slow down. Let's sit in this. And there is going to be uncomfortable moments. There's going to be where you're like, is this the right? I walk my dog every night and I look up at the moon and I literally go, am I doing the right thing? And the moon doesn't say anything back, but
she's silent.
Strong and silent type.
But she is there for you. Yeah. But for a strong and silent type. The moon hears your questions. Okay.
For sure. But it's just one of those things where it's like, I feel it like when I'm outside, it feels like this feels right. And if this is wrong, then I don't know what right is. And that's okay. So we're gonna keep going at it, and I know I'm gonna get there. I know you're gonna get there. We're all gonna get there.
We're all gonna get there, yeah. Yep. And if there's one thing that I've learned, it is literally, instead of letting that fear paralyze you, it's just to take those, like you said, sit in it, figure out your next step, and if you need to, write stuff down. Like, I know that sounds so simple, but for me, when I'm looking at this giant puzzle in front of me and it's really big and confusing and scary, my brain instantly wants to shut down and say, all right, go take a nap. You don't have time for this right now. So I will go, okay, I will literally sit down and say, okay, what is my goal? This is my goal. How do I get there? Well, how did we want to do this podcast? What did we do? We researched it.
Yeah, we researched it.
How the heck do we do a podcast? I don't know. We'll research it. YouTube knows. Yeah. You literally just have to sit down and go, what do I want? How do I get there? And that one tiny step, and then go to the next tiny step, and then the next one. And then by the end of the year, you're going to realize all those big, scary steps were actually just really tiny steps, and you just had to put them in order.
For sure. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
And fear is valid. It is valid.
And you're allowed to feel it, and you should.
And you're allowed to feel it, yeah. But it is there. Exactly, yeah. Don't let it paralyze you, you guys. That's easier said than done. But
easier said than done. But you're absolutely right. Small steps. Do some research. Talk. And this is the other one that I've been doing a lot is like even talking to you. I was like, anyone who's doing this, let me reach out to them and say, hey, let's get on Zoom and talk about this. And see what they're doing. And I did that to probably 4 or 5 people. I have even a list of some more that I want to talk to that are just in my space doing the same thing.
Yes. And I love that.
Yeah. They'll really be there for you. Like that's how you build a community of people, like-minded people who want to be there for you. You have to break down these walls. Like right now, coronavirus is tough because we're all indoors and we're all spending time at home. But Zoom is Zoom is kicking coronavirus's butt because we're still
Zoom said Corona who?
Yeah.
Corona who? Okay.
So,
100%. Awkward pause.
Pausing.
Sorry. No, you're right. Like if we wouldn't have had that Zoom call, and we were literally just talking. We were talking about business. We were just like, hey, what's up? This is my idea. What do you think about this? And then ever since then, I feel like my business has just freaking exploded with new opportunities. With anytime that I really need a pickup, I'll freaking message you or another artist or like literally somebody that I know is in the field that is dealing with the exact same things. Yep. And they're always able to share something with me and then support me. And then I'm able to do the exact same thing for them. So it almost completely renews my sense of self. And we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that in a little bit on our next episode. But, our don't lose sight of your why. Yep. But yeah, make a community for yourself. If you don't feel like you have a community to support you, make it. Yep. Freaking make it, because
people aren't going to judge you. They're not.
No. And there are probably people that didn't know that they needed that community, and that once they see that it's available, they're going to be freaking psyched.
Yes.
They're going to be like, wait, what? Cool. Like, that's how I feel with this. Even like the podcast alone, being able to sit and talk about these things and understand them and hear from other people, it changes the way that you function.
It does.
It is inspiring as hell.
Yep. It makes you want to keep going.
It makes you want to keep going. Absolutely.
So
yeah,
I couldn't see it any other way. Like, it was supposed to happen this way. And there's a lot of people who are like, well, design is a dog-eat-dog world, or blah, blah, blah. Corporate America is a dog-eat-dog world. And maybe corporate America is like that because people aren't reaching back for each other. They're not trying to support each other. But in the design community, we can do that. We're open. Yeah. And there's enough money out here for everybody.
Oh my gosh.
Design will never die. It'll always need us. So
yeah, and I mean the same thing with photography. Like, it doesn't matter what type of artist you are. It doesn't matter if there's too many people doing it. If you are doing it and you are treating the people that you that are supporting you with care, they're always going to come back, and they're always going to support you. Yep. So they don't care if there's somebody else doing it all the way across the world, and they have an amazing website, an amazing Instagram. Okay, whatever. They know you.
Yep.
They don't care. They just want to support you.
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to get caught up in that.
So I feel like we're preaching to each other right now.
Yeah. Always.
So we're like reaffirming.
We're just preaching. But yeah, I mean, I think that's basically it. Just stop letting fear get in the way of what you want to do with your life, because you know what? We only have one of those. One.
And you can spend that life being miserable, wasting all your time, and then end up being 60. And what did you do?
Right.
Oh, well, now I want to do something. You're 60. You're good. The good body was at 30. 20.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. What was I watching? I was watching something that was talking about that. I was listening to the 4-Hour Work Week.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm glad
yes. I bought the audiobook. But he talks about that. Tim Ferriss or is it Timothy Ferriss?
Tim Ferriss.
Tim Ferriss literally talks about how we aim for retirement, but by the time we get to retirement, our bodies aren't able to do the things that we wanted to do when we were making all of those choices, plans. All of that money, all those plans. And then we get to retirement, and then what? Why are we not living our lives now? Why are we not doing the things that we want to do now? Yes, I understand that budget, money, like that shit's hard. But do you know how many people I had 2 side jobs, you guys, and my business did not give a shit. My business said, you know what? 2 side jobs, that's cute. You're coming right back here.
Yes.
So like literally, if there's a passion in your life, you can make it work. And even if you have to work those side jobs, but don't don't let that fear stop you from taking that business or that passion or whatever the hell you want to do from doing that. I don't even know if that made sense.
No, you're absolutely right.
Important.
You're right. Don't let it stop you, because today is where you need to live in today and not tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Like the future mindset is I don't know. I feel like it's an American thing. We just always want to be. Tomorrow will be better. Tomorrow I'll be skinny. Tomorrow I'll be like. But we got to do today. You are who you are right now in this moment. So you can't worry about who you're going to be.
Don't even get me into body positivity. That's for another episode.
I think we got to get out of here.
That is for another episode. Okay. All right. Well, that was episode 4, guys. Stop letting fear get in the way. Let us know what your fears are. We want to know what is stopping you in your business. What do you feel like you can't get past? And even if you haven't started your business, what is it that you love so much, but the fear is stopping you? Like, talk with us. We want to hear it.
Yep. And we want a community. We want this community to be open and honest with each other. Because I want to see literally everyone succeed. There's a lot of big machines that operate in this country, and I want to see them suffer because we've decided to depend on ourselves.
Make the machine suffer. We're just gonna move past that one.
All right. Shuffer is hilarious.
Shuffer. Anyway, past Jessa being weird. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Episode 4. We're freaking excited. And as always, you can find us on Instagram at Wisdom by Design Podcast. You can find us on YouTube.
Yes, I got that together. We're there.
Yeah, that link is in our bio on Instagram. So if you'd rather see our faces, have fun.
And our awesome scene that we've created to go with the podcast. So.
Oh my gosh, you did so good.
I love it.
It looks so good.
This one's going on my website.
We are coming together. We're getting it. So build that team, you guys. Build that community. It'll really help you out. Anyway, I'm Jessa.
And I'm Cameron. And we will see you guys next time.
Yeah, Wisdom by Design.
Wisdom by Design.